Greetings, Royal Court. Thank you all so much for tuning in on another video. Today we are joined by our esteemed guest, Deathwinku. Make some noise.
Greetings, Royal Court. It's me, Deathwinku.
You might already know him from the Balloon Tower Defense 6 video, where he, featured in. But today we're doing something else than Balloon Tower Defense 6. What are we doing, Deathwinku?
We are doing the Dark Souls Marathon Run. 5 games, 2 guys, and 1 dream. Beating it all.
Indeed. But we are not beating it normally, and we're definitely not beating it in one stream because 5 games, that's a little too much in one stream. But we're not beating it normally. What do you mean, not normally? Let me just pull up the rules. Boom. Edit. Tricks. Anyways, let us first go over the basic rules. 1. No summons/spirit summons. All games in offline mode, obviously, because...
No human interaction.
That's right. 3rd, no glitches, but cheese is allowed. What I mean by that, bosses are allowed to be cheesed, like the Dragon Rider in Dark Souls 2, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he falls off a map. Let me play on the world's smallest violin for you. But cheeses, like trapping Genichiro in a corner on top of Ashina Castle, nah. Following. On a soft lock, you are allowed to make a new character. In my opinion, it takes so long, but it's available.
Just in case it happens, you can do it.
In Dark Souls 2, the Burnt Ivory King boss fight, you are forced to bring the knights with you, so I guess that counts as summoning, but they suck, so whatever. Number 7, you can always farm materials/experience, but it is just a time loss. In my opinion, I'll allow it, allowing to farm for materials, but I will be against allowing to farm for runes, especially because it's so easy. I think you wanted to add something.
It is just for materials for a weapon, or in worst case, a weapon art, or something like that. So no just being there for 2 hours, Just a quick little farm, maybe.
Understandable. Number 4, maybe the most important rule of them all bosses must be defeated, with of course the exception in Sekiro, because it's possible. There will be no New Game Plus allowed, right? That's Deathwinku?
Yes.
No New Game Plus. These rules, they of course aren't enough. We love suffering. And because we love suffering, we will do game-specific challenges. Now, these game-specific challenges, they differ from person to person, but sometimes they don't. In Dark Souls Remastered, I will be only using a strength scaling weapon. And Deathwinku, what will you be doing?
I will be making the Giant Dad build.
Which basically means strength as well. Dark Souls 2, Score of Person. Sorcery only. What I mean by that is that only damage dealt via spells. Deathwinku, you're doing something else?
Well, mine is that, but with extra steps. I can use weapons that scale off with intelligence, so it's not like a mage with a greatsword, of course.
So, Deathwinku, he will be using spells, but he will accompany those spells with a sword that scales with intelligence. It just sounds like a... Dark Souls 3, Pyromancy spells only. So only, throwing some fireballs at the bosses. Deathwinku, you're doing something else again?
Yeah, mine this time is way harder. I'm doing the Slave Knight Gale run. In short, it is just bringing the dried blood to the painter, which is basically an endgame item. So either way, I am beating all bosses.
With, the most difficult step is not using any bonfires, but he just skipped over that. Don't worry about it. It's not that difficult. Sekiro. Because Sekiro, we couldn't just say, oh yeah, we're doing a dex build. We love to handicap ourselves. Which means no items, no Mortal Blade, no weapon art, no ninjutsu, no prosthetics, no revives. What I mean with no Mortal Blade is you of course need the Mortal Blade to finish the game, to sever immortality, because in order to do most bosses, we will do the Severance ending, which means doing the Gun Saint Ishin. You're doing a little less handicaps, aren't you, Deathwinku?
Yes, I am doing only the no revive rule.
Yes, so he will be skipping over these and only doing the no revives, which is difficult in and of itself. Moving on to the last game, Elden Ring. The newest Souls game, DLC of course included. In all these games, DLC included. I will be doing the bow only. Now, Deathwinku, yours doing something entirely different.
Yes, so while Ruler is doing the bow only run, for me personally, Elden Ring is by far the hardest game, so I will be doing my favorite build, the arcane build.
All bosses? Which bosses will you kill? Well, here are the list. All bosses that we need to defeat. Going from a Silent Demon all the way to Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder. Now, because Dark Souls 1 is a trash game, after you defeat Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, no matter what you do, you will be sent to New Game Plus instantly. So, in order to defeat all the bosses, you will do him as the uttermost last boss. Which means first doing the DLC, these 4 bosses, before doing Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. Moving on. Dark Souls 2. It's a little bit more, you know. These 32 bosses will all need to be completed. All the way from Last Giant, which is not the last giant, to the final boss, Aldia. And including these 9 bosses in the DLC, which will be spread out over these 3 DLC, which are definitely going to be the hardest ones. Isn't that right, Deathwinku?
Yes, and at the end of every DLC, you will get their crowns, and at the end of the game, you will combine them all and finish the run.
I didn't know that we were doing that, but now I am. Alright, hopping over to Dark Souls 3, it's a little bit less amount of bosses because we will only do 19 of these main bosses, starting with Urex Gundyr as the first boss, ending with Soul of Cinder. Now, I say ending with Soul of Cinder. You are, of course, allowed to break progression in any way you want, just, you know, within the bounds of the game. That if you wish to do it, you will. You may collect 1 million souls in order to open the shrine to access the DLC in Dark Souls 2. But you can just always hop over to Ashes of Ariandel before defeating the Soul of Cinder, if that is what you want to do. Sekiro. Because there are a bunch of bosses in Sekiro, and literally all of them are optional. We will be doing the Severance ending, which means the most amount of bosses, actually. That's the ending with the most amount of bosses in it. Over here are the 13 memory bosses. I don't know why I put them there. I mean, why Deathwinku put them here and not the optional bosses, but whatever, bro. There are like 30
You know why? Because
bosses.
Wait a second. Jongen.
Because there are 30 optional bosses, and like there are actually 6 different ones, and all of them, you know, repeat to the same guy. Basically, it's just a reskin. We all hate you, Headless. Elden Ring. Elden Ring, the most recent in the line of Souls-like games. I was thinking, you know, Elden Ring, there's quite a lot of bosses. Let's do them all 285 if I remember, or 300 or something. I don't really know. I'm not keeping count. All of those bosses, but you know, Deathwinku, you want to do something else. Deathwinku, what did you want to do?
I actually wanted to keep my sanity, so instead of doing 300 bosses, we are doing the main remembrance bosses. And the rest of the 300 bosses are optional, maybe, if you need something. I think that's more logical than like just doing 300 bosses, yeah?
As he's saying, we will do the main 15 remembrance bosses of the main game, starting with Godric, ending with Elden Beast, and then hopping over to the DLC, starting with Dancing Lion, ending with Radahn, Consort of Miquella. Of course, progression may be broken in any way you see fit. Yeah, that's basically it. Keeping in mind these limitations we have set for ourselves, we need to defeat every boss with these limitations. Now, I hope you all will tune in the 30th of July. That is when the run, these live streams will start. You may watch them on my YouTube channel right here and on Deathwinku's channel, linked down in the description below. Go check it out right now. Deathwinku, do you have any more notes for our lovely viewers?
Not really. I think Ruler explained everything very well. Of course, keep in mind this is a marathon and not a speedrun, so our paths are more than not just not optimized, and we do actually both kind of suck at the game sometimes, so don't expect the best performance. But anyways, we are here to make fun, so
Yeah.
I hope I see you all in chat.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
W's in the chat, bro. Now, my dear viewers, without further ado, I will see you on the 30th of July. This has been your RulerAlva,
And Deathwinku.
signing off.